How would Godzilla fit in with the monsters from War of the Gargantuas? In this episode of What If, we're gonna dive right into it. So for starters, which Godzilla design would be used? War of the Gargantuas came out in 1966, and a Godzilla film had come out the year previous titled Invasion of Astro Monster. In that movie, the Godzilla suit used was called the Daisenso Goji. Let's use that design for this scenario. So based off of everything that we know about the Gargantuas and Godzilla, what would happen? Well, assuming that Sanda and Gaira didn't die at the end of their debut film, War of the Gargantuas, we could safely assume that Gaira would continue to reside in the ocean and Sanda would continue to reside in the Japanese Alps. I imagine this scenario would start when, sure enough, Gaira decides to come ashore in Japan, hungry and looking for food. Gaira would probably rampage through Tokyo as we saw at the end of the War of the Gargantuas. Gaira was no longer intimidated by the city lights. I'm sure this would catch the attention of Sanda, who would arrive to stop Gaira. A battle going on in the middle of Tokyo would surely gain the attention of Godzilla, who would make his way to Tokyo Bay to see what's going on. When he finally gets to Tokyo, Godzilla would see Sanda and Gaira battling it out. This would cause Godzilla to make his way through the city until he got to where the fighting was. Sanda would probably try and motion at Godzilla, trying to strike up an alliance. Because by this point Godzilla has fought to protect Earth, it is very possible he would accept this and team up with Sanda to destroy Gaira. Another scenario could be that Godzilla ultimately decides to fight both Gargantuas. For this video, we're going to stick with the first scenario, but the second scenario certainly makes for an interesting video idea. If Godzilla and Sanda teamed up, I think that even though Gaira is strong and would put up a good fight, he would be no match for them. I think the fight would start out in the city, lots of destruction would be caused. I'm sure Gaira wouldn't be beaten easily and would put up a long hard fight. Gaira is pretty nimble and I think he would have some advantages. He can jump on top of Godzilla or maybe even try and swing Godzilla from his tail, a la King Kong. But Sanda, paired with Godzilla and his atomic blast, would eventually push Gaira out of the city. Gaira would probably try and retreat, forcing the battle to move to Tokyo Bay and the ocean. This is where the battle would get interesting, but by this point I'm sure all three monsters would be exhausted, especially Gaira if he's the one being pushed back. Godzilla is also known to be an adept swimmer. This battle would probably start off near boats, and I'm sure Gaira would use them as weapons. I think he would try and get Sanda and Godzilla underwater, but I think Godzilla would be able to overpower Gaira. In the water there would be a struggle, and it could last for a while. Ultimately, Godzilla and Sanda could keep the pressure on Gaira long enough to either kill him or force him to flee. This would be a very interesting battle. Certainly a lot of destruction would be caused, but I think that Sanda combined with the strength of Godzilla would defeat Gaira. I think that Godzilla's atomic breath would prove to be a valuable asset and help give him the advantage. Godzilla and the Gargantuas would have been an interesting concept. Stay tuned for the next episode of What If.